Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's roundtable, how to build a successful scientific career, even if you're a woman. As we all know, while women make up more than half of the college-educated workforce, they are statistically underrepresented in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or STEM. According to Forbes, globally, only 35% of students in STEM careers are women. Numbers for leadership positions are even grimmer. For example, according to Credit Suisse, only up to 3% of STEM industry CEOs are women. At ICN2, we believe in equal opportunities, indistinctive of gender, and are working hard to try to close the gap. We want to be part of the solution. Having female role models is important, as they represent and expand upon what is possible for women, inspiring the younger to aim higher and be more ambitious than they typically would otherwise. Today, I want to thank our panelists, 3 of our female group leaders, for having proposed and organized this roundtable to celebrate the Women and Girl in Science Day. We will listen to each of them first, and then we will have time for questions and discussion. And with no further ado, let me introduce our first panelist, Professor María Escudero Escribano. Professor Escudero Escribano graduated in chemical engineering from the University of Extremadura and obtained her PhD in chemistry from the Autonomous University of Madrid in 2011. She carried out her postdoctoral research at the Technical University of Denmark and Stanford University. She joined the University of Copenhagen in 2017 as a tenured track assistant professor and group leader, and was promoted to associate professor in 2021. Since September 2022, she is an ICREA professor at ICN2, where she leads the nanoelectrocatalysis and sustainable chemistry group. Her research is focused on the design and development of tailored interfaces and catalyst nanomaterials for sustainable energy conversion and synthesis of green fuels and chemicals. Her work has been published in high impact factor journals, including Science, Nature Chemistry, and Nature Materials. Moreover, she is co-inventor of 3 patents. She is regularly invited to seminars and lectures at international conferences as an invited keynote and plenary speaker. Maria has received numerous awards in recognition for her groundbreaking research at national and international levels. These awards include the European Young Chemist Award in 2016, the Princess of Gerona Scientific Research Award in 2018, the Electrochemical Society Energy Technology Division Young Investigator Award in 2018, the Spanish Royal Society of Chemical Young Research Award in 2019, the Clara Immerswar Award in 2019, and the Journal of Material Chemistry Lectureship in 2021. She is an elected member of the Young Academy of Spain. In 2022, Maria was also awarded an ERC Consolidator Grant. Thank you, Maria. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Margarita, for the introduction. It's really a pleasure to be here speaking today with Laura and Monica, which are inspiring leaders and really role models to me. And I'm María Escudero Escribano. I'm the new one here. I started in September, as Margarita just said. So let me just it was working because but it's not now. So I don't know what is happening. This one is not working, so.
No está funcionando nada.
It was working because my previous. No, I de-click. Okay, thank you. So, so yeah, I'm from Cáceres, the region of Extremadura in Spain. For those that are not familiar, is in the southwest of Madrid, right between Madrid and Lisbon. And as a child, I spent a lot of time in a lab, actually, because my dad was a teacher at a secondary school of chemistry, like chemistry lab for students. So I spent some time in the afternoons while he was preparing like the labs for the following day. And after doing all my education in Cáceres, I decided to start, well, before that, something important that happened to me that opened a lot of things that I wasn't aware was this Aula de Verano Ortega y Gasset. I don't know if you are familiar, but I was like the first promotion in 2001, and that was right before starting my degree. So there I listened to really recognized people in different areas and role models like Margarita Salas. And I was like fascinated with her talk. And I was like, I never had met a scientist, a female scientist from Spain. And I was like, I really want to be like her. Even if this was like super far away, but this is something I had clear during my degree in chemical engineering. So I studied at the University of Extremadura. I really wanted to like become a scientist, and I applied for grants, like these grants from the CSIC, Introduction to Investigation and so on, which is something that I mean, the step from studying at university and doing a PhD in Spanish National Research Council, which is what I wanted, is not that that easy, especially maybe if you are from Extremadura, where there are not centers from the Spanish National Research Council. I really was I wasn't choice in most of my applications for this introduction to research in the CSIC. Despite I was having really good qualifications. Until the last year of my degree that I got to this program of like introduction to physical chemistry at the Institute of Physical Chemistry Rocasolano in Madrid. So that was crucial because that was the place where I was offered to do a PhD in electrochemistry. So during the PhD, I spent some research stays at Argonne National Laboratory. That was the first time I went to the US and learned a lot in the labs at Argonne National Laboratory, also at University. After all these years, you get a PhD, and yeah, my PhD was in electrocatalysis and surface nanostructuring. I was working during my whole PhD with well-defined surfaces of platinum, chemically modified with molecules of cyanide, because that was very special. It formed a well-ordered surface, and it was very special for electrocatalysis. So this was a result of my stay at Argonne National Laboratory. Out of 3 months of research stay, I arrived there. I wanted to introduce like my system to the labs there, and then I arrived, and they had no permission to work with cyanide. So out of 3 months, I went trying. I was like doing all the paperwork to get the permission for 2 months and 1 week, and I could work for 3 weeks. The 3 weeks were amazing, super exciting, because we found out that this system was really cool to control selectivity for the oxygen reduction in fuel cells. So we come here later. So that was really, really cool. I was the one introducing the system. I was the one doing all the experiment, and Dusan was the postdoc that was working with me, and he repeated the experiments afterward. I was very happy being the second author, but maybe fighting for a like share authorship in these cases. I'm just saying this because of the day, and for you to keep these things in mind, because this was super important. This was a really important part of my PhD. But yeah, and there is a pattern. Guess who is not in the pattern of this work? But yeah, this is another story. In any case, I was super happy. This was the most important paper of my PhD by far. And I was offered different postdoc opportunities in really top groups in different parts of the world. I decided to move to Denmark to the group of Ib Korkendorf and Ivan Stephens. They are really some of the best researchers, same as Nenad Markovic and Bojan Stamenkovic in our field, right? And I was really fortunate to start working with a new set of materials. So we discovered, I started with platinum 5 gadolinium, and we discovered that this kind of platinum lanthanide alloys were really good, really active and stable for same reaction as here in my PhD, oxygen reduction for fuel cells. So then I was investigating these materials. I published the first papers of my postdoc in 2012, and I didn't publish any paper as a first author until 2016 afterwards. But that was worthy. Still, those years were really stressful, because many things depend on getting our papers published. So yeah, I just have to say that I wouldn't change anything, because I think it is important to wait. I think it is important to be patient, work hard, and get to this. I don't have to say that in most of my work as a PhD and as a postdoc, so I got to work with amazing scientists, and working with Ivan has been great at the DTU. But as you can see, I'm the only female in the authors list, and this has been the rule of my PhD and postdoc years. Well, after being in Denmark, I got a very prestigious grant from the Danish government, and spent 2 years at Stanford University with Tom Jaramillo's group, an amazing group where I also learned a lot, and I could also do research at the SLAC synchrotron that is just like in Menlo Park, very close to Stanford. So it came the time. I had been very lucky, because that big paper meant a lot. I was offered like different possibilities as a tenure track assistant professor, both in the US and back in Europe. At the end, I decided to go to the University of Copenhagen. I knew Copenhagen. There are a lot of really funding opportunities also for young researchers. And I also had a very close collaboration at the University of Copenhagen, a theoretical collaboration. So that was ideal. So that's our first selfie of the group. I started my group when I was 33. And in this photo of our first selfie, you can see 5 nationalities. And this has been like my group. It has been always very international. And I think that this is one of the diversity in general is one of the most important things. And it's just the best for research, and the most enriching. So about starting a new group, I'm not going to lie, this is really not easy. Actually, it's really hard. So I've spent 5.5 years at the University of Copenhagen. I was first assistant professor, afterwards associate professor. And like in terms of like regarding work, this has been the hardest years of my life by far. But guess what? You have to focus on the positive things, and the positive things is really get to work with amazing, motivated, and talented young scientists. When I started, you couldn't see big differences in age. Then with time, you start seeing the differences in age. I was lucky to get really a lot of big funding from both private foundations and from the Danish government. So in total, in these 5.5 years, it's been more than 2 million euro as a single PI, just from Danish foundations and the Danish government. And this is the crucial part, because I mean, if you want to start and build your research group, you cannot do that without funding. So this is the most important. That's why Denmark has been crucial for me and for these years. So my group has been always been international, interdisciplinary, and diversity in backgrounds, and of course geographically, and diversity in general is very important. And I mean, to look at these complex problems, you need to do it in an interdisciplinary way, and we have been chemists, physicists, materials engineers, chemical engineers, and nanoscientists. At the University of Copenhagen, at the Department of Chemistry, there are both chemistry and nanoscience as a bachelor and master's. So there were a lot of people with that background as well. Yes, so when I left Madrid, when I finished the PhD and I left for my postdoc, I left for like 2-3 years thinking that I would be back. It's been more than 10 years. So I think so bringing the opportunities and the funding is crucial, and if we want to have researchers building their own careers, we need to support that. And as you just heard, since September, I am ICREA Professor at the ICN2. And I'm very happy we are building the labs. This is the first one. It's super exciting. Just having, I mean, it's kind of starting again, but super exciting, like building the labs as we want with Pilar, which you will see in a minute. So yeah, this young kid became assistant professor at 33 years old, and now I am 39. Since the title was like how to build a scientific career, I would just say, first thing you need really, if it is, I mean, you can have a successful career without being independent and group leader, but if you want to have your own group, you need funding. And this is super important. You need support. You need support from good mentors. They don't need to be your supervisors, but you need good support. Okay, I've been talking a lot in the first ones. And from your loved ones. Follow your passion, do what makes you happy, because this is crucial. I would say there's no special recipe, just hard work, perseverance, and really work with kind, passionate, talented, and motivated researchers. And this is the most important thing. This is in the left is the last photo of the group. You see that we are a lot of female here, also 5 nationalities in this photo. And then on the right, so, well, let me just say on the left, we are celebrating Paula, which is in the middle, and just got awarded a Billum Young Investigator, which is the grant that I got as I started my research group. And she was the first postdoc I hired with that grant. So that's really, really the most rewarding thing. And on the right, you can see Pilar, who is sitting out there in the lab that we need to get built. Yeah, so I will go very fast, but we work in nanomaterials for renewable energy conversion and production of renewable fuels and chemicals. These are some of our research lines, and especially, and especially This one here, methane activation and partial oxidation, is going to be very important one for the next 5 years, because we just got an ERC consolidator for that grant. So for here, I just wanted to say, because Margarita mentioned some of the awards, I think it's very important to get nominated, especially as female scientists, and to like apply for awards, and for us to nominate also female scientists for awards. I can just say that out of these awards that I'm putting as an example, I didn't get any of them at the first time. And this is very common because they are very competitive, right? The first one is very special. I was emotional, or I mean, crying, I think, in that photo. I was in Seattle. It is the Young Investigator Award from the Electrochemical Society, like the American Electrochemical Society. And before me, there has been only, I was the first female. And right now we are 2 in the list of all the awardees. And I think only 2 from Europe. So most of these awards are given to professors that are in the US. Top universities, right? They are very competitive. I will just go fast. I think that I would like to hear from you if you have some suggestions like for us to do, because I'm in the Young Academy of Spain, and we also have like the area of women and science, and we can do things and that can have an impact and can make things better. So I would like to hear from you, and of course encourage you to apply for it if you really if this is something that is motivating for you, and I am here to give you support if this is the case. I just want to tell this story, and I have to be fast. But this was, so I got an invitation last year to go to recreate this picture from the Solvay conference, 1927, and there and the picture looks super balanced and diverse, right? Because they invited 21 young scientists during the PhD. They put the photo and they see, look, 1927, 2022, things has changed. Well, first thing, no one there in that meeting treated me as a professor. Everyone thought that with my 38 years at the time, I was a student. The students were in their 20s, right? So first thing, surprising. And it is true that I was the youngest professor. So this is the recreation that we did of another photo. This is the first Solvay conference, 1911. And these are the professors. So in this recreation, you can see 2 Nobel Prize, Ben Feringa and Anja-Marie Len. But in any case, this is a little bit sad, but this is not worse than the reality. If we go to like group leaders in different centers or full professors at the different departments, this is like more or less average percentage. So I just wanted to mention very fast, but I will go fast here. But we really face a lot of harassment. I wouldn't say just women. I think that minorities in general, and we have to just acknowledge that and change that, of course, fight for that. And I saw yesterday this paper from Nature Chemistry 2021. This kind of be applied for funding, but for many things in general, right? Like you are having cumulative advantages as a male and cumulative disadvantages as a woman. And this is a reality. And this is what we all need to fight, because this is a fight for equality. So we all need to be there. Things are changing very slowly. And I will just leave you with some thoughts. But I think it's very important that you belong here. Everyone belongs here. If you hear that you don't, just run away from those people. Surround yourself with those who inspire you and support you and believe in you and learn from them. And I think this is one of the most important things. And I just wanted to, and I think, of course, it's important that women support women, but also men need to support us and support equality. And I just wanted to finish with the words from Frances Arnold. This was, I was super fortunate, and this was incredibly inspiring, this thing that we did in Barcelona in July 2021. So Frances Arnold is the Nobel Prize in Chemistry 2018 for directed evolution of enzymes. And this was the first travel that she did after the pandemic outside the United States. So it was, we spent really wonderful days here in Barcelona. And I just want to leave you with what she says about the advice. I think this is very important. Like, this is a fun and important career. We cannot leave that only for the men to enjoy. And yeah, if we want to do something important and impactful for the planet and for the people, and continue to learn all our life long, science and engineering are a wonderful foundation, and they are for all of us. Thank you very much.
With this, I would like to now introduce Professor Mónica Lira. Professor Lira-Cantú obtained her PhD in material science at the Material Science Institute of Barcelona, ICMAB, right next door. She's a full professor at the Spanish National Research Council, CSIC, and a group leader here at ICN2 of the Nanostructure Materials for Photovoltaic Energy Group. She has worked for international companies such as ExxonMobil and has received different awards and fellowships. She has been a visiting scientist to the University of Oslo, Norway, to the Riso National Laboratory in Denmark, and the Center for Advanced Science and Innovation in Japan. Between 2016 and 2018, she was also a visiting professor at the École Polytechnique Fédérale at Lausanne. Her research interests are the synthesis of novel nanomaterials and the control of their optoelectronic properties through their manipulation at molecular level, with the aim of developing highly stable and highly efficient perovskite solar cells. Her group has more than 15 years experience in the field of solar cell stability and is internationally recognized for its implications in the enhancement of the operational stability of emerging photovoltaics at the development of ISOS protocols. Thank you, Mónica. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Margarita. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm very happy to share these meetings or these talks with Laura and also with you, Maria. Very nice that you are here. I'm very happy to have more and more leaders, group leaders, female group leaders. Okay, so I'm going to start saying a little bit of what I have done. And so I'm Mexican. I was born in Mexico and I came here to study my PhD. I remember being in the airport with all my friends saying goodbye, and I say, I will never, I will go back to Mexico. I will never marry a Spanish. And my husband, this year's our 25th anniversary. So don't make such kind of plans, okay? So I started my PhD, I finished my PhD, and then I went for a postdoc to ExxonMobil. In fact, I remember it was February 1998, and they called me to offer me the position, to offer me to go there to have an interview. And I was very sad because I say, of course not, I'm getting married in August, so it's not gonna be like that. And when I talked to my husband, with my husband now, and I told him, you know, they called me from ExxonMobil, from the United States, and he just looked at me and say, so you're going, right? And I say, what? We're getting married, I cannot go, right? Are you crazy? That's what you want always, right? Go for it. So We got married in August. I had the interview in September. In April, I was already in the United States. And he was here. He stayed here because I was supposed to be there for 1 year and come back after 1 year. So 1 year, we are not gonna move. We can go back and forward. So 9 hours, Barcelona, New York. This was in New Jersey. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, they keep offering me to stay and stay. Before they tell me something for the 4th year, I say, you know what? I have to find out what's going on with my marriage, right? My husband is still there. And then we have to decide if we want to live in Mexico, in Spain, or in United States. And we decide to come back to Spain. So it was a shock. It was and this is, I think, the next one. For me, it was one of the most difficult parts of my scientific career to come back. It was a shock. Different. It was, for my husband and I, was not what we expected. And the first thing that happened is that I arrived with a promise of a contract, a postdoctoral contract that was not there. They told me that since I have a very nice salary in the United States, I could stay 1 year without contract. Welcome to Spain. But of course, my priorities were others, and I decided to stay anyway. And I'm glad I did that decision, of course. But for me, the comment here will be look for mentors. Always look for mentors, not only one. Search for more than one mentor. One mentor, we have one idea. In my career, I have mentors that suggest or advise me wrongly. So please look for mentors, not only men, also women, especially women, or both. It's very important to have both visions, okay? So look for mentors, talk about it, ask and ask. I have never been a person who talks too much. So I didn't talk that much, and I was trusting only one kind of people or one person. So please ask for mentors. That's what my comment on this. So I also want to mention, this is the second comment. I mean, I have a lot of stories to tell you, very nice stories during my career, and others not that nice. But there's another story about something that happened just a few months ago. I was elected chief editor of this APL Energy journal. And one of the comments from a person that was above me, for me, a colleague, yes, co-worker, very important person next to me, it was, no, you won't be able to do that. It's too much work. And I was like, what? The face was surprised, okay? So of course, into myself, I say to myself, watch me, you will see, okay? I have had those kind of comments in my career many times, and all those times, those people were wrong. So also, besides looking for good mentors, besides looking for those people who are telling you, you cannot do it, we need more female role models, okay? So I'm very happy that I have two, even though you're in the next generation than me, you're also a role model for me. And ladies, and also men, you're role models for somebody else. So be aware of that, it's very important. One of the very interesting things that happens this happened a few months ago. So I was last November in New York because there is the publishing the office is in New York. And we have a meeting there. And I was very surprised that all the people behind the scenes in this publishing, they are all women. And I was in a meeting, is the first time I was telling them that I have a meeting with only women. I always have men. Usually I'm the only woman in the meetings that I go. There was a lot of women, it was very strong woman, a lot of character, very interesting, okay? They are working in editorial and publishing, but they all have PhDs, biology, engineering, etc. Very strong woman, a lot of character. And I say, if 20 years ago I had a lot of women around me, maybe I will never leave ExxonMobil, you know? But in ExxonMobil, I also have a lot of men around me. So ladies, men, we are role models for other people, okay? It's very important to look for them. We are there, woman, people don't see us too much, but we are there, okay? Next, I don't want to talk about all my career, only 2 examples, okay? And what I want to say is that, yes, there is a lot of stereotypes with respect men and women. I want to say we have published some papers in Nature Energy and other journals about this gender gap that is in the difference and the problems that we face. But we have to be aware of these changes. Not all, I'm sorry, not changes. This stereotype that we have. Not only men have those stereotypes, we also have those stereotypes. And we are the first one that we have to be aware of those to be able to change it. And for me, to be able to change all this, what is happening in our society, to be able to change this gender gap and to be equal is like this activation energy, right? And we are there. We haven't crossed that energy. That's activation energy that we have this graph. So in the future, I hope that we won't talk about female or male leadership. We will be all leaders, equal, right? But we have to all work together. And again, awareness for me is the most important. This is one phrase that I really like. We have to be aware of the problem in order to change it, okay? And that is very true. If we don't see what we do differently than men, we won't be able to figure out where we can improve, okay? There's this video on YouTube, very funny. Look for it. It's very nice. It's very old. They talk about, it's a tale of two brains, between the brain between men and woman. And they talk about marriage, but what is that's not the important part. The important part is what they say, the difference between how brain of the woman and the brain of the man works. And it's very interesting to see how the brain of the man is like the little boxes working individual problems. And we women connect all the things together, okay? It doesn't mean that one is better than the other. It means that we are different, okay? And they even say that there is a nothing box for men where they get there and they just don't think about anything. It's fantastic. I would like to do that really, because it's very nice. So she's a psychiatrist. It's very good. If you can read her podcast, very interesting. She also talks about the different men and women. And it's true. What she says that the brain of the man is very focused on one problem, okay? And very good to solve those problems. And women are very good to connecting both parts of our brain and to resolve other kind of problems. So it's very interesting to see one type of way of working to the other part of working and then working together to make it better, okay? Again, it's not that one is better than the other. I think we complement each other, but we have to know a little bit how we think. If you really see how men work, so at least is what I have seen, men create networks, very strong networks, and they support each other. So I have seen men saying, you will win today, you tomorrow, you next week, and I mean the other week. And us women, we work individually. We don't get together, okay? So it's very important, as also Maria said, that we have to create networks and we have to be together. Right now, I am part of we have created several groups of female researchers in WhatsApp, in meetings. We have these women in renewable energy every year, for example. Very nice interaction, very nice support. We share our experiences, and it's very important for you to look for those kind of networks, okay? It has been proved that including women in the workspace improves or increases productivity. There are studies talking about it. It has been reported and has been published. So it's beneficial for our teams to have men and women, and we have to work on that. And these are some of the comments and positive advantage of having men and women at work. my personal opinion is that 3 of the most problematic issues of women are these 3. I mean, we have many, but these 3 things, this is something that I would like somebody to tell me when I was younger. Take more risk, do networking, and improve your negotiation skills. These are the 3 things that I, at least in my career, could be very interesting to improve during my career. We are afraid, much more afraid than men. We don't, I mean, everybody tells you when you go an interview, men usually sell themselves much better than women, okay? So we have to take a little bit more risk. Also, networking, they say that we do that. We throw the spaghetti, let's see what happens. When men focus on where they are going, what is the advantage of having that person in my network? We have to be a little bit more like that. And the last one will be the negotiation. Don't be afraid. I mean, it's well known that women don't negotiate. Men negotiate when the first salary, they negotiate, and women don't. And it seems like we are afraid of doing that. We have to learn how to do it, and we have to be able, I mean, we can do it and negotiate. So we have to read more about this in order to do it better and to educate ourselves in these 3 points that I think are very important. Nothing, just to finish. This close is shorter than Maria's, but remember the world population is 50% women. So 50% of this world is ours. So we don't need permission from anybody to do what we want to do. Okay, we forget these kind of things. That's our target. It's a lot of people. We are now at 8 billion. No, 7, this is not upgraded, right? But there's a lot of people. That is our target. So we don't have excuses. And I think we are very, very much afraid of what is going to happen. There are more people wanted you to be leader and to guide and to do things that what we think. And for me, this is all. I just want to encourage, especially women, to keep going, to try to be leaders. Please talk to other women. We're very happy you come and say, you know, you need this advice. We're very happy to help. We need women who work hard and look for their objectives, okay? And we also, one very important thing is it's important to have good grades. It's important to come from a good school, etc. But that's not all. I mean, it will help you in your career. But what is more important to succeed, I think, is that you never give up. That's all. Just don't give up and you keep going and you will succeed. So thank you very much. This for me, this is all.
So we started with our youngest group leader, increased in seniority. Now we have our most senior and well-known group leader. We now have Professor Laura Lechuga. She studied chemical sciences at the University of Cádiz, Spain, and obtained her PhD from the Complutense University of Madrid. She's a full professor at CSIC and the head of the Nanobiosensors and Bioanalytical Applications Group here at ICN2. Her scientific area focuses on nanotechnology applied to health, and in particular on the development of advanced nanotechnologies for the early diagnosis of diseases such as cancer. She is considered one of the world experts in this area and is one of the most cited women scientists internationally. She has published over 300 publications, has 8 families of patents and trade secrets, 430 invited talks, and has co-funded 2 spin-off companies. The quality of her research has been recognized by numerous prestigious prizes and awards, such as the Spanish National Research Prize in 2020, the King Jaume First Award in New Nanotechnologies in 2020 as well, the Ada Byron Prize in 2020, the Physics Innovation and Technology Prize from the Spanish Royal Physics Society, RSF, and UVA Foundation in 2016, and the 18th Burdinola Research Award in 2021, as well as the Medal of International Foundation Olof Palme and the Doctor Honoris Causa awarded by the University of Cadiz in the same year, among many others. So with this, Laura, the floor is yours.
So thank you. Thank you, Margarita, and thank you for being here. So I must say that one day we were having lunch, Maria, Monica, and myself, and then we decided just why not to try to do to organize a meeting like this, and especially because we wanted just to speak and to have the opportunity to speak with all the women, not only women but also with men here at ICN2. So as Maria and Monica did, I also want just to summarize my life, my scientific life, with a short bio. So my area of research, as Margarita said, I am just working on nanophotonics, biosensor, nanomedicine, nanodiagnostics. So this is a very, very multidisciplinary research area. I have been working always trying to combine from the very beginning fundamental science, applied science, and technological transfer. That's the reason why I started to a spin-off company, and we hope also to start a new one very soon. Since the very beginning, I was thinking like that. But because I am the senior, I'm not going to say the old one, yes. So the senior people, the senior person here, well, in my time, it was really, really very difficult to work in applied science and especially in technological transfer. Many years ago, I mean, everybody was working more focused on the fundamental science. Everybody thought, well, if you want to be a very good scientist, you have to focus on basic science only, exclusively, and also try to publish in just high impact journal and so on. It was not my idea since the very beginning. And so just starting, I got this degree at the University of Cadiz. So Cadiz is in the south of Spain, just in front of Africa. So in that time, we were almost, even the communication with the rest of Spain were not working so well. We're almost isolated there. It was a very pure area. But then I got the opportunity to do the PhD also in CSIC in a very, very new center called Microelectronics National Center. So it was the first time that in Spain and also in CSIC, they decided to start just all a technological center. And then I went there. Of course, I get a PhD, I studied chemistry. And then I arrived to this microelectronics center and I realized that everybody there was physics and engineer. And I was thinking, oh, what I'm doing there here? I mean, I have no idea about semiconductor, about microelectronics and so on. And then I arrived there and they asked me, why don't you make a PhD on biosensor? This is a new subject that many people are starting just now. So I was really lucky to be in the right place in the right moment and then to get this pioneer subject. As you know, biosensor has become one of the big subjects around the world just nowadays. So I was very lucky to get this pioneer subject and then to do one of the first PhD in Spain in the biosensing area. Even in my PhD, I think this the pointer is working. Okay, no. In my PhD, you see, I was making already devices. I was doing technology. And in that time, I was doing some kind of Schottky barrier diets, and then I was using some method of only 25 nanometer. So I was working already with nanotechnology, but in that time, we called this thin film. Nobody was speaking about nanotechnology. Even nanotechnology didn't exist at that time. Okay. So I was also lucky that I decided just to move to the Netherlands, to the University of Twente, to do a postdoc also in a pioneer subject. There are people who was starting to work with plasmonic and the silicon photonics biosensor. It was completely new. Almost only 1-2 groups in the world was working on that time. So I was also quite lucky to get this pioneer subject in my postdoc. So I come back to Spain after 2 years. And then when I was only 32 years old, I get a permanent position. So just a funcionario position, científico titular from CSIC. And then I say, oh my God, then I have to start my own group. And that time, as Monica also say, I mean, I didn't have any mentor. I didn't have any advice. Of course, we didn't make any meetings like that. So I was completely alone. And then and they give me just one lab and say, okay, here is your lab. You have to do everything by yourself, without any mentoring, without anything. So it was a very, 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 very tough time, very difficult for me. But then I decided to start this group and also focusing on this multidisciplinary, this apply, and also this, and also focusing in technological transfer. Remember, in that time, 97, in Spain, almost nobody was doing technology. Almost nobody was fabricating devices, and nobody was collaborating with companies in that time. Even they thought, well, this is not science. You are doing that. This is not really science. I must say also that in 97, I started to do scientific dissemination. So I consider myself one of the pioneers in doing the scientific dissemination in Spain. You can see some of the, so I have you in some TV programs from that time that you can find in internet. In 2004, I started my first company, my first spin-off company. As I said before, it wasn't a time that nobody was starting a spin-off. Now everybody's starting a spin-off. Everybody wants to focus on that. But in that time, nobody was starting a spin-off. And even my colleagues in my institute in Madrid in that time, in the SIC, they were criticizing me, saying, why are you starting a spin-off? This is not a way to do science. You want to get money? And I said, well, why not? Well, you want to get money with science. This is not making science. But we were like, well, I mean, but even the company, we sold the company. I mean, the company we're starting in 2004, we have a product on the market in 2006. Only 2 years later, we have a product on the market. And in 2009, we sold the company, the complete company, to Mondragon Corporation. Mondragon is one of the main industry that we have here in Spain. And then in 2008, I decided just to accept an invitation to move here to Barcelona. We're just, or in that time, negotiating how to create ICN2. And then in 2008, I decided to move my group and my lab to Barcelona. But I must say that one of the good things to belong to the Spanish Research Council is that because we are in all Spain, they allow me to come here, but then to translate all my people, all my instruments, all my labs. So I came here with everything. So it was very, very good for me, because then you don't have to start from scratch, as Maria is doing now. But then I have already all my labs. Also, many people from my group, more than 10 people, just came to me here to Barcelona. So it was a very, very easy to start again here in Barcelona. So these are some of the devices and all the technology that we have been developing along the years. So at the end, after so many years of very, very hard work, then as Margarita mentioned, well, I got so many prizes. So I have, this is a summary of my life, more than 17 awards. But I must say that that it's not, I mean, you see this picture, you see the very nice aspect of my career, but I must say that it was very difficult to get here. It was not as simple as I can tell you now, but then you have to think how to build a successful academic career in a male-dominant environment. So for me, it was quite important to have this pioneer view. So I was working in a subject, in a kind of technology that nobody was developing in the world in that time. Of course, you have to be ambition in a good sense, a strong will, perseverance, and motivation. We will come back to this later on. But I want to say that one of the main assets that I always have was to count on female talents. Since the very, very beginning, it was the picture pointer is not working. Okay. The picture in the middle was one of my first group in Madrid. You can see that I have been always surrounded with many, many women. So I really think that perhaps one of the main points to contribute to my successful career has been to be surrounded always by female talent. Doesn't mean that I don't have male talent around, but I would like to mention this, that is one of the main reasons for successful career. So I just wanted to give you some, to tell you a little bit more about how to build a successful career. In my case, I was quite focused on this technological transfer. And why I did that? Well, when I was doing my PhD in Madrid, as everybody, I was only thinking publishing. I want to get as many papers as possible. I was only thinking on that. In the last year of my PhD, a big company at that time was a multinational company called Tabacalera from Tobacco Company. I never have smoked in my life, by the way. So they came here and they told me, we saw your work about this gas sensor for ammonia and for hydrogen, and we're very, very interested in your technology. We wanted that to work with you. So during the last year of my PhD, I was working with this company for free without any contract. Even I didn't mention all the results in my PhD because in that time they thought, oh, you're working with a company, you cannot mention this. It's like, this is not science, so you cannot mention that. Even in that time, we didn't make any patent on the sensor because we thought, why to make a patent? So it was the mentality in that time. But then for me was a way to see that you are developing science and technology that is useful for the society. And that's the reason why since my PhD, I decided just to focus much more on this industrial application. When I come back to Spain, I started my group in 2001. I got my first industrial contract. It was with a company in the Basque Country, I don't want to say the name. It was a very strange industrial contract. It was very strange because the Ministry of Defense was involved because it was related to the chemical biological warfare, not say anymore. And we fight and we finished at core. It was my first experience at core in Spain. It was a really, really tough experience. This is in my book, so you really want to read the details, you can go to there. But for me, it was also, as I said, you don't have any mentor, any advice. Even the lawyers from CSIC, they wanted to say, no, don't go there, don't go to court. We just finished the contract, but they still, I wanted to recover a lot of money for the work that I did for this industry. We win. We won this situation, but I can give you more details later on if you want. Since here, then I decided to start my first company in 2004. You can see here the photo is not good enough, but there are two of my PhD students that they were showing to the Prime Minister Zapatero in that time in Moncloa, showing one of our devices. It was probably the first spin-off from CSIC that I was able to go there to this demonstration because in that time they were trying to invest much more in physics, in science. And then in 2009, and I say we sold the company. This is a success story, especially for that time. And then from the 2007, and when I came here to Barcelona, I was selected by this technological transfer program from Fundación Botín. Probably you don't know, but Botín Foundation is the foundation. Botín is the owner of the Bank of Santander. So it was one of the main banks in the world. So they are just multimillionaire people. And this is probably the most dream situation for a scientist. They came here, they said, you have been selected. We give you more than €1 million, even more. And we pay everything that you want, even beside this 1 million, and you can do whatever you want. You don't have to write a grant. You don't have to justify even the expenses. So this is the amazing situation for a scientist. You get so much money, you can do whatever you want. You don't have to give explanation. And I think also it was a boost in my career because we got so much money that then we were able to develop many research lines to contract much more people and to develop. I was also involved in another company with a colleague in Madrid. And then since then we have been working, my group, with many, many different companies in Spain, like Biomedal, Cepsa, and many others. And we hope that in a few months, we are starting a new spin-off company here at ICN2. Okay, so just analyzing the problem, the woman in science. How many women we have in science? According with this is from the European Union, you can see here the number. According with the population only, for example, in Spain, you can look for the flag of your country, but in Spain, we are only 7% of women who are scientists. 7% of the population for the women. The total population, 7% are female women working working in science, 7%, so a really, really very low number in comparison with the population. You can see also the number here in the world. So in the field of science, 1 in 9 are men, but 1 in 14 are women. In engineering, 1 in 5 are men, 1 in 20 are women. So are very, very low numbers. And also I have this, this is in Spanish, but you can see also the problem that the women, we don't get almost any awards. I mean, you saw my list of awards, but for example, for the national prize, I was the first woman ever in this category of technological transfer, first woman ever. In the case of the Jaume Primero Award, I was the third woman in 20 years to get this prize, and many other prizes. So you can see here, so in this figure, you see in blue is the number of men that they are getting the prizes from the Royal Physics Society. And then you can see how from 2000 to 2020, you can see the difference between blue and orange, between men and women. The only one that is in the middle that you see more women is just a young investigator award. It's in the only stage where women can get, well, more or less a few prizes, more prizes in comparison with men. So my advice or my tips, how to build a successful scientific career. Well, this is the main 3 problem that we have, the women. We have this sticky floor. So we are women, we're trapped always at the bottom step. This is, there is no way to go from there. Then we suffer this vertical segregation. We don't clip to the top position, very difficult for women. And then we have the horizontal segregation. We are already segregated by discipline at the university. Few women are going to scientific or engineering careers. So we are starting in the horizontal, we go to the vertical, and then we have this sticky floor that we cannot move from there. Okay, so these are my tips, how to build a successful academic career, especially if you are a woman. Of course, it's important to have a good background. So the PhD, postdoc, international experience, this is mandatory. There are many people that they want to move from their country, but I think, my opinion, when you have this international experience, completely open your mind and also build your network, collaborations, and so on. So I also advise you to look for the best group, for the best institute, for the best universities, because when we are looking at the CV, when you want to contact someone, we are always looking where this person has acquired education, where this person or this woman has done the PhD, the postdoc, and so on. You have to be aware also of your personal preferences. I mean, if you want to be a leader or not. I mean, there are many people that they prefer to work in a group and not to become a leader. You have to, I mean, be really aware your personal preferences and also your possibilities. I mean, because depending on the character or how you want to make it, you have to think if you can do it or not. Because you have to see your possibilities, you are going to face a very, very competitive environment, even more competitive for women. This is in general, competitive for everybody, men and women, but it's even more competitive for women. So be aware of that. My advice is also to establish your independent research with your own ideas. This is something that, for women, the collaboration is a must. Everybody in science, we are collaborating, but women are probably collaborating more. And my advice is that you need to have your own ideas and to go for your own ideas. So collaboration is a must, but it cannot overshadow your own development. Be careful with that, because sometimes when you are collaborating, especially with male teams, finally it's like they have the ideas and you are doing the work. Okay, you are making some collaboration and you are doing this experiment. Be careful with this. So this is own ideas, independent research. My advice is also choose quality over quantity. We know that now we are counting papers all the time and the number of papers. We are completely focused on that. But this is also something that Maria said about your science paper. So I think it's more important the quality than the quantity, because sometimes when you make something very good, everybody is going to read the paper, everybody is going to know that you have developed that. So it's more important to have this very, very pioneer research, or very good research, I mean, a very high quality one, more than the quantity. Of course, this, especially here in Spain, this is more for Spain, but also outside, ensure a permanent position as soon as possible. I know that this is very, very difficult, but focus on that, try to get a permanent position as soon as possible. And also be prepared, because you are going to face more difficulties, because there is always a gender bias, always. I mean, you submit a proposal, you submit an application for a postdoc, for an assistant professor position, for everything. There is always a gender bias. So don't be upset with that. I mean, you have to think that this is going to happen, and you have to, to be prepared for that. So you have to be ambitious. Men are very ambitious, and women, we are always criticized if you are ambitious. But we have to think that we have to do the same. We have to be ambitious. It's the only way to progress in this career. Well, the family conciliation is a non-solved issue. You have to know that. This is something that I don't have any magic bullet how to solve it, but be careful, because you have to know that the family conciliation, just how it's done now, is a non-solved issue. And this can jeopardize your scientific career. And the only way to get, to progress in the career is to have a strong will, working. This is also for men, but especially for women, because a deadline will never stop. When you finish one deadline, and you know that at the next day you have another 5 more. So this, remember, a strong will, working. This is just the magic solution is working. Okay, so remember, I read this in an interview. It's not my ideas, but I really like it a lot. So just follow this 3P strategy. So passion, you have to go for, try to find a place where it's inspirational and supporting research environment. This is important. Then go for persistence. This I say, work. So don't give up. Every challenge, every problem, every issue, every challenge is a chance for change. If you found better, obstacles or very difficult, you don't know how to solve it, just go for help. Just ask for someone to help you, but stay always motivated and look for this help. That's why it's important to have this supporting environment, because if you are facing a problem, you in a supporting environment, you know where to find a colleague or a friend or a mentor who can help you in solving this problem. And then to have perspective. You have to set your goals and your role models. You have to go for a healthy work-life balance. I think that is very important. This is more important to have this healthy work-life balance, and also be open to adapt your goals on the way. Perhaps you want to reach that, but it's not possible for any family reason, for any reason. So you have to adapt to that. Don't be frustrated. You have to, to try to adapt to the situations and not and maintain your motivation. So this is the 3P strategy: passion, persistence, and perspective. I just wanted to introduce something that, of course, we are speaking too much about scientific career, but remember, especially for the people finishing the PhD, there is many alternative options to academics. There is many other options that you can do beyond academics, and also still working in science. Of course, you can go to any research and development departments in companies. You can work as a technological transfer agents. You can go also for all these companies where you work in the intellectual property. Many people have to do patents, trade secrets, and so on. Everybody has a PhD in all this work. Of course, we have a sample here that we have high-level technical positions. This is a very, very nice work, and we have many very, very excellent high-level technicians here in our institute. Of course, we have also all this project manager, that we have also excellent people that have done a PhD, a postdoc, and now is working on that, grants and project officer, public outreach. We have also all the people working in all our scientific editorials. All of them has a PhD. So this is also another opportunity for working. Of course, you can work also in the science management and policy, even in museums. There's also many jobs there for scientists. You can also go for conference organization and event, or press, public relations, marketing. So there are many opportunities. So it's not that everybody has to stay in the pure academic career. It's also that you can use your background, your PhD, your postdoc background in many other areas, complementing the pure scientific research. Well, I think I have almost finished. If you want to read more about my life, this is in Spanish. This is a book called Una científica saltando vallas. Unfortunately, I am not so famous that is translated to English. We're not going to know to never success. But I mean, you read the Spanish, I recommended you this. And also for the people who like to write, we have announced just now the second edition. This is also in Spanish, the second edition of one prize for Tales for Children to encourage the presence of women in STEM careers. We have I also recommended you to read the one that was the winner last year, Elsa y el Club de los Números. I am in the jury of this prize, so if any of you has an idea, it's still open until April, and then you can submit your manuscript to this prize. The idea is that we want to encourage, the STEM career, especially for children, for girls. So it's a very nice prize. Okay, and something that I want to tell you has to finish because it was in my area, something that happens, and it's just a reflection why it's so important to go to the university, to get a PhD, and to have the required background before you can say, I am a scientist, I can do this and this. This is the story of Theranos. I don't know if you are aware of this story. Yes, many people probably. This was in my area. So Theranos, this woman was Elizabeth Holmes. In 2003, she started chemical engineering in Stanford University. In the first year, she was at the university, but she wanted to become famous and rich. She really wanted to become so famous. And in the first year of the degree, she decided, oh, I have an idea, a marvelous idea. I left the university, I started a company, and then she started this company, Theranos, in the Silicon Valley. And then her idea was how to make an analysis of more than 200 analyzed in one drop of blood, okay? And she promised that she has a technology, that she has not only idea, she has a technology, she has a patent on that, and she knew how to do that. And she started the company, and then she was able to convince all the investors. By the way, she never published anything. Nobody saw any technology. Nobody saw anything. And the company was valued to $9 million. She was included in the list of Forbes of the most rich people in the world. And now this is a few years later. She started to commercialize. Finally, because nobody was able to see, they have a machine that it was like a black box. They put the sample and get the results. But finally, they decided, all the sample was sent to the central laboratories here in Theranos. But nobody saw that. Only this black box that it was not operating at all. And then finally, some of the workers started to send anonymous message to the Wall Street Journal that everything was fake, completely fake. They never had any idea. They never had any patent. They never have any technology, nothing. Everything was fake. And so now she's she went to the court last year. Now she's in jail for more than 12 years, I think. So there is many documentary books and so on. I recommended you to see this movie, this series, The Dropout in Disney Plus. There is another one, HBO. And you can also look in the internet about this story. And this is a reflection about how it's so important in our area that you get the required background. Go to the university, make a PhD. And after that, perhaps you can think in starting a company or starting your group and so on. because you really need to have the required background. This is why it's so important, the education. If you think it's very hard to do a PhD, it's very hard to do a postdoc. Remember, if you want to do something and to change the world, the only way is to get the required background. So this is something very, very bad, especially for women, because she was one of the few starting a spin-off company in the Silicon Valley. But this is, but if you want to go fast and to go to become famous and to become rich so fast, I mean, the possibilities to fail is like this woman did. So remember, is what you are doing, educating yourself. I mean, getting the PhD, doing a postdoc is so relevant in order to get, to get a good career at the end. Okay, I think this is my last slide. Yes, so thank you to all of you.
Importance of having a woman in this field, and all of you more or less say that one really important thing to become a successful scientific is to have good mentors. Which advice can you give us to get mentors?
Well, I didn't get one because in my time there was no mentor.
Yeah, well.
I learned it by myself. Unfortunately, I think it's much better to have mentor.
But I think anybody who is in senior position would like to be a mentor. I mean, you go and look for the person and talk to them, you know, I need some advice. Nobody will tell you no. The only thing I would say is don't search only for one person. Look for several persons, different areas and different places, okay? So you will have different views. It's very important.
But I think also that there is now this is more or less organized. For example, BIS has a mentor program. All the societies, for example, the Physics Royal Society, the Chemics Royal Society, all of them has also this mentor program. I mean, there are many entities and organizations have organizing also these mentor programs. I think even ICN2 has one. Yeah. So now it's very well organized. I mean.
Can I just add, don't be shy. Monica just said it, just approach any woman you see as a role model and start a conversation.
Royal Society of Chemistry, Material Science, Material Research Society, for example, in their meetings, they have free meetings or free speech of people about mentoring, and a lot of conferences that help you in your career development. So look for them in these big meetings, MRS, American Chemical Society, for side, not the scientific part, there is a side conference and they will be related to it.
But thank you very much for the talk. For me, it's like, what I needed, more or less needed, is like, you all talk about problems that generally women have in science, having with their careers, but I think that it would be nice if you can tell us some like specific situations in where you as a woman in science said, okay, that's happening just because I'm a woman. And there's another issue that I think it's very important, because right now it's one of the most important problems I think in this field, that is women in science that want to have kids, want to have a family, because none of you like really talk about it. I don't know if it's because you don't have kids or whatever, but right now I remember I have this interview with some students this year, and they asked me, do you plan to have kids? Do you think that this would be a problem in your career? And then I got thinking, and I was like, if I want to have kids, which I don't know because I'm just 25, but I don't know when, if I want to continue with my scientific career. So I don't know if you can talk a bit about this or give some advice about it.
If you want examples of when we have problems, we will need another week or two.
Yes.
But about, we will talk about, just about, I don't think we have kids, the three of us, but I have my, a senior researcher in my group, Sonia, she's here, and she has a baby, a beautiful kid. And I pressure her, telling her, you have to prove to the next generation that it's possible to have a career in science with family. So it has to be possible. I don't know if you want to mention something like that.
Well, just also about these problems. Well, we can tell you many of them. If you speak Spanish, read my book. All the book is about problems. So even funny situations. So, but I can tell you many of them if you want. Even my first interview, I remember after my career, when I went to in the summer, I wanted to do some practice in a company, an old company, and then they selected me because I have high score in the university. And then the first question when I went there to this committee, it was only men, if you can imagine. And then the first question was, do you have a boyfriend? First question, yeah, and then say yes. And are you going to have kids very soon? And then I was only 22 years old. I was, why these people is asking me this? I mean, I went there very nervous, thinking they are going to ask me about the cracking of the petroleum. I mean, you know, technical questions. And then I was completely in shock. You know, I didn't even know what to answer to these people. Of course, I didn't get the position. It was for one of my colleagues with less score than me at the university. So this is just one example. I have many other. About kids, I don't have kids, but in my group, because I have so many women in my group always since the beginning, I don't know how many kids they are produced. So many, many. Not only now. I mean, I remember once, even when I started here, ICN2, that they were pregnant, all of them at the same time. And I said, come on, can you make a program or, you know, make a schedule and not to be all the 3 or 4 at the same time? Come on. You remember that, Carmen, one time? Yes. Yeah, there were one. Yeah. I was complaining all of that. Come on, can you scale? You know, but in any case, I think it was also in our case because we are so many women in the group. In the group, we have this friendly environment that we can't, how to say, substitute each other. And I hope I try that they don't notice in this break in the career because we can't substitute the other women while they are not here. And I think this is also quite important that you have this supporting environment where you can be with your kids 6 months at home, even that is the normal time that they are now. And then you don't notice any break in your career. This is quite important, but then that's the reason why you have to look for this supportive environment and colleagues. Because I mean, if you are a group leader, probably this is more problematic. But you have to find a way to combine everything. I know this is difficult, but it's possible.
And I guess the most important thing is to just push to make things fairer. Keep in mind also that this is an additional thing, having kids, but we need to also keep in mind that there is a systemic bias, and this is the huge thing that we face as women. And this is what we all need to fight for. And as Monica said, we would need another day for talking about the examples, but it is many things, and the things are probably we are experiencing more and more as we advance in the career, right? So, and we are really just a few of us that make it, and so many people that just stay in the way and doesn't become a group leader or a professor. So we need to try that not to happen. Yeah.
You also have to be aware that study yourself, inform yourself about the things that are harassment or not, for example. I mean, you have to know that in an interview, they can ask you for your sexual preferences, for politics, for if you want to have kids or not. That's illegal, and you have to know that. So before you go to an interview, you have to know all of that, your rights and the right that you have as a worker. So that is also very, very important.
There is a good poster everywhere at ICN2 about harassment that if you haven't read it, I think it's really, really good. I wish I had it earlier. I had that information earlier on in my career because it is very important. And we need a support system for this like kind of situations in place. And this is the most important thing, right? That we want to just make sure that there is this support system.
So I'll ask you a question while the public thinks of another one. We've all gone through stages in our career where we've thought of leaving everything behind. And some of us have actually left the academic path. But have you had this moment? And in that case, what has been the trigger? What has changed that mindset? What has made you continue along the academic way? What has been your catalyzer?
I mean, that support. I mean, these moments are like in my career, I have them all the time. Like, is this like all this suffering and working so much and also like loneliness, just also being far away from my family. Is a lot of hard moments, and you say, does it worth it really? I mean, I'm really passionate about this, and this was the main thing, that they like just focus on the positive things. I have my group and they are amazing, and just focus on that. But you need people that really support you. Along my career, I thought that I couldn't make it like through to the next stage, like doing a PhD even outside the university, going to the physique or the next step. I always was like, I'm not going to make it. And you need people that really believe in you and support you. I always will say that my mom was always there, like, of course you can make it, and you really can, and she didn't have any doubt, and I really always thought that I couldn't. So all these people, professors, mentors, family, are there supporting, and probably without them there are many difficulties, and it is probably I wouldn't be there. I wouldn't be here. Yeah. So we need the support, and we need to support. So I think this is something I had very clear. I have conversations with young people that write to me an email, and they are kind of my network, and they want to discuss where to do the postdoc, for instance, and I have a Zoom meeting with them. And I think this is very important. We also have this mentorship at the Young Academy of Spain. And I don't know, I love talking with the young people and try to help and support, because I think this is something crucial. So yeah.
So in my case, I mean, I think it's very important, of course, and what Maria is saying is very important, especially your partner is very important. Choose wisely. Choose your partner wisely, man or woman. Very important. If you see they are not supporting your career, that's a red flag. So it's completely 100% important. Otherwise, you won't be able to keep going. I have had very bad moments in my career, of course, thinking about leaving. But however, this is what I like. For me, it was amazing when I was doing my PhD. That I was a fantastic time, and afterwards, of course. But these moments when you have an idea and then go to a lab and do something, it works. That's all I need. It's very amazing, right? So that's why I keep going. So when these bad things happen a lot. It's like you just close your eyes and focus on your objectives and keep going. I mean, there will always be these little rocks in the middle of the way, right? That will stop from keep going. But you have to be very clear where you want to go and focus on your goals, and don't distract yourself from that. So I think, but it's tough sometimes.
Well, in my case, I must say that because I like it so much, the technology and making devices and so on. When I finished my postdoc, I was thinking to go to work for industry, because I mean, everybody was focused on this basic science. I really didn't like it. And I thought, well, perhaps I am not a person to be in science. And then I just have this idea to move to work to microelectronics industry. That was my main idea. But then I came to Spain, and then I got surprisingly, because it was very tough in that time to get a permanent position, and I got the permanent position. And then I said, oh my God, I now have a permanent position, so I have to start my own group. So it was for the first time that I was thinking if I stay in science or not. And during the career, it was, especially at the beginning, was quite difficult. As I say, very difficult to progress. I was alone. I have only one lab, no money, nobody, nothing. and to start from scratch when you are alone and you don't have mentor, you don't have support, you don't have nothing. It was really, really tough. And also then a few years later, when I was doing already well and have also a large group and so on, I didn't get any promotion. So I saw how only men were getting promotion in my institute. I was not able to get it, even if I have more CV and more things. And that time was quite difficult. I was thinking, well, I should go and stop this because I'm not going to progress anymore in my career. But then I decided just to fight against that and to look, how it's possible to solve that. And then I started just to make contacts, to complain. I went even to see the president of FESIC and to complain that it's not the situation for a woman, why I don't get the promotion, even I have more CV than the other men in my institute. And then it was a good way to fighting. I think it was a way to open also the way to other women later on. And then I was getting my promotion and everything. But the whole time is fighting and fighting. I have many stones in the way, but then you have to be fighting and surpassing that.
So I would say support, passion, strong will, right?
Yes.
The three.
And complain, always complain, please.
And to speak with others. Because women, as Monica said, we tend not to say too much. You are only thinking yourself and not communicating with others, asking for a different opinion. And I think in my case, it was also crucial to start speaking with other people, even men, and to explain the situation, if it's happening to me, what to do. It was crucial in my career.
I think most of us, if not all, mentioned moments that we were told you are not capable, because we are told that a lot. For me, this, seeing in perspective, there's been also a lot of suffering, but it's like, now you will see, like Monica said, okay, you're going to see. You're not able to write your PhD in English. Well, you will see. And then I started for my PhD, I can say many things. And then I started the postdoc with English speaker, Ivan Stevens. And when I wrote that science paper, that first draft is almost the same as it is in science. So you need to work hard. You need to, of course, it is each challenge is not so straightforward, but you just work hard and you make it. Everyone can make it with willing. So with all these things, you create also like a thick skin also, because you are more and more used to this kind of comments. But you also say, okay, you are going to see that I can make it, and you work hard and you just do it, and they see. But this is But then there are a lot of people that didn't make it, and that didn't make it because it is a lot of fight and a lot of additional things that we have to do on a daily basis, that just because we are women or minorities, and this is unfair. It is exhausting, actually. Yes.
I want to make a question, but now I would like to make a reply that, okay, with this message, I think it's a bit dangerous, because it's like me as a woman, I have to work harder and harder just to prove that I deserve to be where I am. That is something that men don't have.
No, not only you, only men.
Yeah, but sometimes with this empowering and working hard for equality, I just overwork myself to prove that I deserve to be where I am. And that's not fair as well. Yeah, absolutely. I deserve to be. Yeah, absolutely. And I would like just a little comment. That is, I would like to highlight the important thing to have a woman in science. It's not just because something fair, it's because it's essential to have both views in the outcome of any project. I come from a healthcare background, and I saw a lot of problems that we have, and we commit a lot of errors just because we consider just the male body or the male perspective. And we have the same examples in STEAM areas. For example, the airbag. The airbag was designed just for male bodies, and it did not help to women or even kids. So it's not just important to have women in science because it's fair. It's essential for the outcome of any necessity. And yeah, that's.
When it comes to artificial intelligence, they will take all the information that from men, not from women. So we have to be there. Yeah?
Not recognize the voice of a female. Like, it's not only important to have because it's fair, it's essential to cover the necessity. It's just the
Well, it's even worse. It's even worse because most of the medicines, for example, the drugs, when they have this drug discovery and then their clinical trials, many years ago was only done in men. So they didn't focus in women, and some, I mean, and it's not the same, the body of a woman or of a man. And so the medicines could be, I mean, the effect could be completely different in the treatment and so on. And now they realize that they have to do also with women. But many of the diseases have been studied in the last time only in men. But this is even more crucial. I mean that.
But that's why it's important to be there. You know, for example, this position that I have for the editor-in-chief, they asked me first, and I say the first time they contacted me, say no, I'm very busy, it's too much work. I say myself, and then a friend that was working in that area just told me, it's a shame that not even one woman present themselves. We have to be there, and you say it, Monica, that we have to be. We have to be there. We have to be in those positions to make things happen, to make change, to change things. We have to be there. It's going to be hard. It's going to be more work, but we have to be there.
But we have to choose wisely,
yes, wisely
because time is limited, and we receive many things, maybe more because they want equality. Like there is no equality in leadership positions, but they want the equal, and it's the way, of course. But then we have to choose very wisely and say no whenever.
Only things that are very important.
So let's say when we have 50% of female leaders here at ICN2, just because Pablo is here. So just we're hoping that in the next future we have 50% Pablo of group leader female group leader.
We will.
In the last years, I experienced myself that the gender balance that, for example, is required by in all the European projects now, is becoming a way for men to say, okay, for you it's easy because you are a woman, so apply because you have more opportunities of men in this period, because it's easy. Also, when conferences that are networking on women, it's just okay because you are women, so this conference is not really important. If you have a PI that is men, this is sure. But I mean, how can you think that we can fight this new stereotype at the end? Because I mean, it seems that now is easy for a woman to get a Marie Curie, to get.
Don't listen to that.
They are always going to
I know.
They are always going to say that. They are always going to say that.
Yes. No, but really, I mean, probably there is that situation. Probably is there. So take advantage of it. I mean, men have been doing that for years, okay? Do it now. Why you don't think about it, okay? You're not bad. You know you're not bad. You're good. So go for it. Forget about those kind of things. I mean, you should not even listen to that. Select what you hear, and select the people who say that kind of things away from your surroundings.
But for course, but yes, I don't take care of this, but I mean, just how we can really reply to, I mean,
watch me. No,
don't replay. Just ignore these people. It's better to ignore.
Make a blacklist.
They shouldn't be close.
Yeah.
They make these comments, which is like they are making them all the time.
But if the reality is that like that today, take advantage of it. Really, if you were a man, you will never say what you're saying. They will never say that. They will take advantage of that. Do it. Go for it. Forget about it. Okay. Scare people with the phrases so they will go away, because what you say, you will only be surrounded by people that really matters. Really, you want it away from your life as soon as possible.
Thanks.
Yes, don't waste time. No, really.
Time is precious.
Yeah, yeah. It's not money what is important, it's time. Yeah.
No? Okay. So going back to life balance, I want to share my vision about what is having kids where you are in a top position. For me, I think that it's very difficult. So as a woman, you really need to struggle to be there and to don't give up, because it's something. So it's not as just a small addition to. So it's like something that it puts your life upside down, and is so. Well, I just wanted to share it.
I don't have kids, so I can't rather say anything, but I have heard my friends with kids saying this kind of thing. But I think it's change of life for men and women, not only for women. So it's you have to fight for that, you know. I was listening to a friend who in this Woman of Renewable Energy conference that we have, and she was saying that during the pandemic or during the paternal leave, they observed that they start giving paternal leave for men, okay? And they observed that during the paternal leave, women didn't increase their career, but men did. Their career increased because they didn't have anything to do. So they start doing a lot of paperwork and a lot of publication. It depends on women. The men will take the same level of work. And really, it has to be that way. I mean, we have to live with kids the same way, right?
I think that are the key, because I mean, if you are, in my case, I work for a company that is men,
and it's not the same so the load that the women has, the one that have kids, that the men, and that is something that you can see every day. So
yeah, it's very hard. Choose wisely.
We have time for a last question. Okay, so I'll just, yeah, there's a.
Hi. You have lived in many places in Europe, in Mexico, US, and probably the gender equality is never actually reached, but the situation can be better or worse in different places. So with all this experience, what are some policies, be it at governmental scale, university scale, that can make the situation better? Which policies would you say that are the most efficient?
I have not seen so many differences from Spain to other countries to the US. I have been working also in Norway. I have been working also in Brazil, and in the Netherlands. I didn't saw any different. Even in the Netherlands, I remember it was even worse because there was almost no women at all. I was in the physics and engineering department, and was almost very few women there, and not in the top position, none of them. So I didn't saw so much different in any country.
For me, I saw a lot of difference between working in a company than not. Companies, I mean, there is a studies that says that the productivity goes up when women are there. So they put it there because they want money. So they put more women there, and they really take care of that. And it's more careful. You have to be more careful because you can be suing a company. It's more different in research. So I saw a lot of difference between companies and not companies. But it's true that I haven't seen too many difference between different countries in research. It's true, it's not. Sometimes I even surprised that countries that you think are more developed will be more open, they are not. So it's tough. And policies, poof, there are a lot of policies, but I don't know. You want to comment on policies?
I would say that from my experience, I think in Europe in general, we really have a lot of work to do. I think that Spain is not different than most of the countries in Europe. Other countries, and this is statistics, are worse, like Denmark, the Netherlands, really bad. And I would say that in the last years, at least I've seen that when I was at Stanford, I think that in the US and in the UK, they are really working hard on all the programs regarding diversity, equality, and inclusion in general. for the workplace, and they have like a really strong programs where they apply that in the hirings of faculty, and this is working, of course. I think that the Real Society in the UK is also doing a very good job, and then partnering with the universities, that makes a difference. And yeah, but we have a long way to go.
Okay, so just to close up, I would like to just summarize some of the ideas I've kept. Probably there are many more, but don't give up, be ambitious, and take more risks. Create networks, support each other. It's also important. Look for mentors. Check out the BIS mentoring program and the ICN2 mentoring program. And don't be shy. Knock on the doors of women that are there and have walked a little bit more than down the road. Work on your careers, work hard, look for awards, show yourself, again, be ambitious. And I just want to finish with something someone told me when I was starting university. And it was actually a he. And he told me, look, Margarita, there's always room at the top. So keep that in mind. There's always room at the top. Thank you.
Thank you.